Welcome back for another episode of the Speak the Truth podcast. I'm your host, Matt Tardio, and today's episode is being brought to you by Prize Picks. Justin Trudeau apparently scared the living hell out of the Trump administration when he threatened to tax the United States, so much that Trump is now considering acquiring Canada as the 51st state. Now, I know that was a rumor going around for quite some time, but I mean, he's sitting in the Oval Office now stating it.
That he could agree to change your mind on the tariffs?
Well, we can always, but look, what I'd like to see, Canada become our 51st state. We give them protection, military protection. We don't need them to build our cars. I'd rather see Detroit or South Carolina or any one of our, Tennessee, any one of our states build the cars. They could do it very easily. We don't need them for the cars. We don't need them for lumber. We don't need them for anything. We don't need them for energy. We have more energy than they do. We don't need them for energy. So I say, why are we doing this? Why are we willing to lose between $100 billion and $200 billion a year? We don't need them. As a state, it's different. As a state, it's much different. And there are no tariffs. So I'd love to see that, but some people say that would be a long shot. If people wanted to play the game right, it would be 100% certain that they'd become a state. But a lot of people don't like to play the game because they don't have a threshold of pain. And there would be some pain, but not a lot. The pain would be really there. So we're going to meet.
All right. So Canadians are complaining that the U.S. is putting on tariffs, and I don't blame them at all. I mean, one of the followers of this channel just lost his job because of the tariffs. Like, they literally shut down his entire plant. He called in this morning and was explaining it. And I just, scuba, man, like, God, I feel horrible for you, brother. But the fact is that Canada has also been like taxing the hell out of the U.S. as well.
Americans better off. Now, the president has also been very clear that we have to rebalance our trade relationship in this country. Every single country, if you look even at our northern neighbors, Canada, do Americans realize that the Canadians charge massive tariffs on our products that go into the country of Canada, including on our great agricultural products that people right here in the state of Ohio depend on? Well, if the Canadians are going to use their economic power to penalize Americans, I think it's totally reasonable for the American president to say, we're done being taken advantage of. We, of course, want to have a great relationship with Canada, but that goes both directions. And that's all his conduct and his activity of the last few days was about.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's wrong at all. And when he's talking about being taken advantage of, he's kind of correct. Check this out. There's a map of like oil pipelines. Now, if you wanted to get oil from, I don't know, let's say Eastern Canada all the way over to the West, or from the West out to the East, however you want to look at it, you kind of got to send the oil through the United States in order to make it happen. You know why? Because there was a proposed pipeline that was supposed to be going from East to West or West to East, but Canada ended up canceling the dang thing. So what do? They piggyback on us. Look at line 9, it goes down. Then you got to go over to the Enbridge main line in order to start shipping crap up over there. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. So yeah, are they taking advantage of us? Maybe. Canada responding by saying that they're going to charge us taxes and tariffs and then not selling, Republican whiskey really doesn't bother us that much because we're just going to shift. That's how the economy works here in the United States of America. Just a matter of fact. So I know everybody over in Israel, I've been telling you for a while, just wait and see. The Trump admin, they do support Israel. Watch it happen. Just give it a little bit of time. Turns out Trump is trying to push through a $1 billion weapon sale to Israel. I'll say that again, $1 billion weapon sale up over to Israel. That's going to include, let's see here, 4,700 Mark 83, 700 million in JDAMs, and 300 million in armored bulldozers and equipment. Wonder why he would want to do that. Well, maybe it's because Israel is surrounded by nothing but a bunch of like radical nut jobs.
It's a small country in terms of land. See this pen, this wonderful pen? My desk is the Middle East. And this pen, the top of the pen, that's Israel. That's not good, right? That's a pretty big difference. I use that as an analogy. It's pretty accurate, actually. It's a pretty small piece of land. And it's amazing that they've been able to do what they've been able to do when you think about it. There's a lot of good, smart brain power, but it is a very small piece of land, no question about it.
Now, on top of trying to get that weapons deal passed through for Israel, he's also pushing back on Ukraine. He's not going against funding Ukraine. He's just looking for a way to get paid back. And the way he's going to be doing it via natural resources, it seems like. Check this out.
We're telling Ukraine they have very valuable rare earth. We want what we put up to go in terms of a guarantee. We want a guarantee. We're handing them money hand over fist. We're giving them equipment. European is not keeping up with us. They should equalize. And look, we have an ocean in between. They don't. It's more important for them than it is for us. But they're way below us in terms of money. And they should be paying at least equal. They should really be paying much more than us. But let's say equal to us. And they're billions and billions of dollars below. So we're looking to do a deal with Ukraine where they're going to secure what we're giving them with their rare earth and other things.
Okay, so he said to secure, i.e., we're not immediately going to be taking it, but hey, we're going to give you all this stuff. This is the way I kind of took that is if we're going to be giving you all this, then guarantee it, give us some collateral behind it because this is a buttload of money that's going your way. Whether or not it's like decommissioned military vehicles, old equipment, all that up over and done. Ukraine shoots more artillery. Well, they were shooting more artillery last year than we could even freaking produce. So for crying out loud, yeah, I mean, let's go ahead and start getting some collateral behind it. I don't think it's a bad deal. Probably the biggest complaint that I hear coming out of the current administration has to be this. USAID being absolutely, completely, and totally gutted.
Well, look, I mean, my frustration with USAID goes back to my time in Congress. It's a completely unresponsive agency. It's supposed to respond to policy directives of the State Department, and it refuses to do so. So the functions of USAID, there are a lot of functions of USAID that are going to continue, that are going to be part of American foreign policy, but it has to be aligned with American foreign policy. I said very clearly during my confirmation hearing that every dollar we spend and every program we fund, that will be aligned with the national interest of the United States.
Weird. It's almost like I've said stuff like that before. If we're going to be giving money away, it should be aligned with U.S. national interest, right? Like it should meet some sort of goal or objective of ours. Obviously, Russia taking over Ukraine would be absolutely detrimental. We don't want to see that happen. But we also don't want to be giving away hundreds of millions of dollars to random people in random countries for random things. Now, Ilhan Omar, she's not so happy about this, right? Today, her and a bunch of other like cronies went over and they stood outside of USAID and started complaining. And no kidding, I've got something that I'm going to show you in a little bit that is just kind of disturbing for the way federal employees actually see this money.
It is really, really a sad day in America. We are witnessing a constitutional crisis. We talked about Trump wanting to be a dictator on day one, and here we are. This is what the beginning of dictatorship looks like.
So this is the beginning of what dictatorship looks like. Shutting down wasteful spending is what the beginning of dictatorship looks like. And all of that is coming from a woman who quite literally married her brother to get him here into the United States of America. What the heck is going on with our country when this becomes a spokesperson, a woman that literally married her brother to get him U.S. citizenship? What in the flip is going on here? Anyone else looking forward to the big game on Sunday? I am, and I'm always looking for ways to make it even better. Not that the commercials aren't good enough, because they are. But what if there is a way to make your experience of watching that big game even better? You guys, do not miss out on the last football game of the season with Prize Picks, the best place to win cash while watching the big game. Prize Picks is also giving away a free pick for the big game where one of the starting quarterbacks will only need to throw 1 yard to win. If you're correct on at least one more stat projection, you can win real cash. Prize Picks is quite literally the best way to put your cash into the sports betting realm, and you can win up to 1,000 times your cash. Listen to me. Download the app today and use code ROB to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. What the heck are you waiting for? Download the app today and use code ROB to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. Run your game. Good question, Matt. What is going on here in the United States of America? Well, let's have a listen for why USAID might be getting shut down.
You're watching live coverage.
Through USAID over the past several years, these are some of the insane priorities that organization has been spending money on. $1.5 million to advance DEI in Serbia's workplaces.
Sounds legit. We need money going to Serbian workplaces, and DEI better be a dang priority there.
$70,000 for a production of a DEI musical in Ireland.
I think we should have DEI musicals in Ireland. That's what I work my butt off for on a daily basis, to make sure my tax dollars fund a DEI musical over in Ireland.
$47,000 for a transgender opera in Colombia.
A transgender opera? Dude, we're going to shut that down?
$32,000 for a transgender comic book in Peru.
The comic books, man. They're going after the transgender comic books. Crap.
I don't know about you, but as an American taxpayer, I don't want my dollars going towards this crap, and I know the American people don't either, and that's exactly what Elon Musk has been tasked by President Trump to do, to get the fraud, waste, and abuse out of our federal government.
If you don't think a transgender comic book in another country is fraud, waste, and abuse, you've lost your dang mind. I'm not working my butt off to make sure that transgender comic books exist in another country or musicals or anywhere else. And that's what it's all about. That is fraud, waste, and abuse. That is excessive, beyond excessive. It should never happen. But still, we have government officials. Representative Sever Holland from Maryland decided he wanted to go outside and protest today and go storm the frickin' building.
As you probably saw, Elon Musk and his crew put a gag order on AID employees. They disconnected them from email, which is putting lives at risk around the world. So we are here to enter the building, and so we can hear firsthand from whoever is here at AID, or at least witness firsthand what is happening with this Elon Musk attempted takeover, which will not stand. We will prevail. Let's go.
It won't stand. Oh, man, look at them charging in there all angry. Well, what the heck, man? It's a pause on all of the frickin' ridiculous spending. You think what she read off is like all of it? It's not even close. Let's start here. $20 million for a Sesame Street in Iraq. Where did that money go through? USAID. $56 million to boost tourism in Egypt and Tunisia. Where did that money come from? USAID. $40 million to build schools in Jordan. Great concept. Shouldn't be our taxpayer dollars doing it. $11 million to tell Vietnam to stop burning trash. $27 million for reintegration gift bags for deported people. $27 million for reintegration gift bags for people we deported who were here illegally. We had to send them home with a flippin' gift. You can't make this ish up. You can't. It all adds up, and anybody who has ever balanced a frickin' checking account knows you can't be spending stupid money on stupid stuff like Sesame Street when you're broke. Now, I might have to issue a correction here because allegedly this came out. I was not aware of this, but either way, the money that they're talking about that's going towards condoms, this is what they're talking about, allegedly. And it's in Gaza, which is a place over in, I forget what freaking country it is, somewhere in Africa. Doesn't really matter, in my opinion. I don't care if we're spending $100 million on condoms for Gazans inside of Gaza, or if we're spending $100 million on condoms for Africans inside Africa. That's not something U.S. taxpayer dollars should be going to. It's just not. So here's another nice long list of other things our taxpayer dollars shouldn't be going to. USAID grant 2024, $2 million, almost $2 million. Can't even pronounce the name of where it goes, but strengthen trans-led organizations to deliver gender-affirming healthcare. Advocate for improved quality access to services. Provide economic. Country, Guatemala. USAID spends $40 billion of taxpayer funds on foreign aid, 45 mil to DEI scholarships in Burma, 520 mil for consultant-driven ESG investments in Africa, and 1.2 billion in awards to undisclosed recipients. How ridiculous. Doesn't stop there. USAID has awarded almost $1 million to Stephen Lionelli of Washington, D.C. for supporting development, democracy, and innovation inclusive development hub programs protecting the human rights of lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, and intersex individuals. No, our money should not be going towards that. And it also shouldn't be going here either. Honduras will contribute to the gradual and sustained reduction of historical exclusion of Honduran youth from political debate and decision-making and ongoing issues. $400,000. Enough is enough. This crap is out of control. There's a reason everything's getting shut down, because the system's busted. You don't believe me the system's busted? $400,000 going to frickin' Honduras to make sure people are it's an all-inclusive program. Transgender comic books. These are all real things our government spent money on. It's preposterous. Here's a Reddit post. Government workers are really ticked off. Fed News. We watched this goon try to overthrow the government on live TV for 4 years. Now we are witnessing him trying to overthrow it from within. We are the last line of defense against fascism. If we leave, we will be replaced by loyalists. For the love of God. What people don't understand that work in the government is that they work for the people, not for their own personal interests, not for self-serving, nothing else. You work for the people of this country and for the betterment of this country, not to push transgender comics in South America. Now, allegedly, there is 6 top FBI officials who are on the hacking block, basically got told to resign. And in addition to that, the Trump admin also wants to know who is involved in the January 6 investigations, because they want to review those people and those files. Very, very interesting. Now, meanwhile, our government officials are still able to get things done. Pete Hegseth made his way down to Fort Bliss, Texas today to visit the troops that are down on the southern border who are putting in the work. Amazing. Our vice president, our Secretary of Defense managed to make his way down there. Imagine that. So our government is actually doing the jobs that they're supposed to be doing. We're not funding transgender comic books. We're actually trying to take care of American interests, which is what they were all hired to do. It's absolutely amazing. It's like the government officials are doing what we hired them to do. Like we elected them to do it, and they're doing it. I feel like I'm living in a different world right now. Now, do I think this is going to work out for the better? To be perfectly honest with you, I'm not entirely sure. I think there's going to be some very hard roads ahead as we continue to plow through all of this trash. But one thing that I do know is we're no longer going to be funding transgender comic books in South America or transgender plays in another country. It's just something we don't need to spend money on. Or frickin', population control in Africa. Give me a break. All right. They can take care of themselves. They don't need the big old United States to spend that much money. USAID, I'm sorry. You should be doing things that do align with U.S. interests. Everything the American government does should be aligned with U.S. interests. Thank every single one of you for joining me for another episode of the Speak the Truth podcast. I'll be live tonight, 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, and tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Central Standard Time as scheduled. I'm out of here.